Encouragement Bar. It's your girl Lo. You already know. Today we have Asha. She is an incredible human being. She's someone who I met a long time ago, but when we reconnected, it just felt like, I don't know, spirits. Like, she's someone that I truly admire in a lot of different ways. A scientist, a sister, a friend, and a powerful force to be reckoned with. Welcome to the Encouragement Bar, Asha. Woo!
Ow.
Oh, ew. Okay, don't play.
Thank you.
She's also hilarious, so get ready to belly laugh and, go in for an interesting ride. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
It's been such a long time.
I know.
Such a long time.
I know. Before we get to talking about resilience and all of these things, I think it's important to talk about where we first met.
Oh my goodness.
And how we reconnected. So we went to school together at Hamlin.
Yep.
We kind of crossed paths here and there, but we never really hung out or anything like that. And then when did we reconnect?
How did we reconnect? Let's GPS there first.
Right. I think we were talking on Instagram.
Yes. I was doing some sort of event. You know me in my side hustle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Side hustle number 9.
Mm-hmm.
What was I selling? Donkey soap.
Yep.
That's what I was selling.
Yep.
And I was like, this is the new thing that people need.
Yep.
I'm a very holistic person. So
Yep.
then I was like, who do I know that's in production and in social media greatness? And then I was like, Loho. And then I was like, Instagram, and then I found you, and then that's where we connected.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. I remember that. It was, I was like, oh yeah, for sure. I'd love to help and be a part. And when we met, I was like, wow, we've never really had a conversation, but it just felt so natural.
Yes.
And I was like, I wonder why we never connected deeply when we were, at Hamlin, and we collaborated a little bit on some of the stuff that you had going on, but I think we developed a really, just a really cool friendship. And
100%.
Yeah.
I look up to you. Okay, I'm gonna keep it a buck
Me?
with you. 3,000. I'm gonna keep it 3,000 with you.
Okay.
You're a person who, to me, is well grounded, right? You speak with a purpose. Me, I just speak to, mouth vomit sometimes. But for you, I look up to you because it's the way you speak and carry yourself is with a purpose. And then I was like, oh, I want to learn from her. This is a great attribute that I want to have. That's what I love about you, Loho.
Really?
You give great advice.
Thank you.
100%.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. I just follow what I feel like God is telling me in certain situations. And I think one of the things that I've learned in my life was, because there was a time in my life where I didn't feel, because I was always going, trying to achieve things, and I just didn't process a lot of things. And then I remember when I found my relationship with God, I could feel again, my heart was pumping again. I was telling someone the other day, I think when you go through the process, we were talking about forgiveness, but I think it translates with life. I think when you go through the process of healing and go through the process of forgiveness, you go through the process of unpacking things. What happens is open heart surgery. You can feel it in your chest. It feels like everything is being pulled apart. It feels like you're bleeding, from all these different places. You can feel everything. And then I think that the beautiful thing about my relationship with God is he can restore my heart to the very beginning, and so I try to lead with my heart. I genuinely love you. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that you were a part of this isn't only because of your story, it's also because of your heart. I think that you might see you're energetic, as all over the place, but I see it as you being open to people, you know, and I think that's something that not a lot of people have. And I really, really value that, like in the people that I have in my life. And so, yeah, thank you. You didn't have to be so open. You didn't have to, when we did have conversations, be so willing, you know, and you didn't have to trust anything that I ever said to you. You didn't have to tell me anything that you ever told me, but you were always so open, even in the midst of the things that you were going through. And that's a gift.
No, I appreciate you.
Know, so.
I believe everybody's good. You know, I don't know if that's the wrong thing to think, but I believe everyone's good, and even bad people are people who's been through something.
Yeah.
Right? That made them bad.
Yeah.
So that's why I always was like, you came in my life at the toughest time, the hardest time of my life. And I was like, I told you too, we were at a restaurant, and I was like, Loho, God is speaking through you, and I'm gonna listen. God. And I was like, he's speaking to you, and I'm gonna listen, and I'm gonna always talk to you whenever I'm discombobulated, you know? And then that's what I believe, that people come in your life, you're right, for a reason, and God maneuvers it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. How have you seen, like, God bring people into your life throughout the years? And has there been importance in it? Like, is it important that, you know, like what are situations where you felt like God is here? Like, I know for sure.
Should I talk about my side, the bad thing that happened? Or should I?
Whatever you want to talk about, girl.
We
can talk about both.
Okay, so
wherever you want to start.
The only thing I could think of is the life situation that happened to me, right? It's not a bad thing. It is a bad thing in someone else's eyes, right? But it's something that, so basically within last year or 2021, to me it's last year. To me it was yesterday. But in 2021 was the roughest year to me. I've lost my dad and my mother within 1 year. My dad passed, and then my mom was my rock, my foundation, my best friend, my shadow, my purpose, right? Wherever she went, I went.
Yeah.
And I'm an old lady. I'm like 34, right? So
and don't look a day
listen,
old.
And I'm at 34.
Like
my mom is still my mom. I'm gonna cry to bust down. I don't know what to do with my life. So when you tell me who or what maneuvered, right? What person maneuvered, is a lot of people. I feel like you gave me advice during that time, or told me something's wrong and it's okay for you to feel, right? Like you said. And it's tough for a Black woman, right? For a career Black woman to show that kind of emotion.
For sure.
Because we're made to be tough. Our moms teach us to be tough. Environment tells us to be tougher.
For sure.
And for me to lose it, it's hard. But when it came from you telling me, Asha, it's okay to cry. I think I broke down in the restaurant we were in.
Yeah, we were.
When you told me, I was like, and everything like fell apart.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to, at least I felt at the time that I have to hold it in.
Yeah.
Because this is life and people are going to pass, right? People tell you. But I think when you told me that, that's when I was like, I have to go through it to get out of it.
Yeah, I think the thing with grief is, and I mean, I've experienced different levels of grief. I can't say that I've experienced the level of grief that you've, experienced. But I've experienced different levels of grief. And I think the thing with grief is that, especially when you're the person that everyone goes to. So the first time that one of the pivotal times that I kind of started looking at the process of grief was when my grandfather passed away years ago. And I remember I had met my grandfather, came to the U.S. when I was 5, but I also I remembered my grandma and I remember my grandpa. And so when my grandfather passed away, you know how us Africans do, like people came over, the community told, my dad is breaking down because that was his father. Like, it's like a whole situation. And I remember feeling sad and I remember wanting to cry. And I remember someone came to me and they said, you're the oldest and, your dad needs you, your mom needs you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was probably not even a teenager at that time. I might have possibly been close to a teenager. And I remember feeling like, okay, like I can't process this. And I think when we were talking, I guess now, like looking back, that's what I saw. It was like, you had to be strong. You had to hold it down. And I think like all you wanted was permission.
Yeah.
That's it. You were just like, what I could see past what you were saying was, I just want permission.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to just fall.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the power lies. That's where some of the healing like begins or like continues. Like that's one of the catalyst, like the moments that kind of like start helping you build it back up in the process of your grief. And grief is so different because there's going to be times where you're like, crying one day, and there's going to be times where you're, not. But yeah, what has your process been like? What was that?
So when I couldn't, that was because my mom died from COVID, and I was at the hospital every day, right? So I watched her diminish. My mama was like 160. She turned to 60 pounds. And that was like the toughest thing, to watch her diminish.
Yeah.
Right? And it's tough. COVID is tough. I don't want all this makeup on.
I'm like, you good.
Bust it out.
I'm like, don't worry.
It's
touch
tough.
a little.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm only human,
Yeah.
And my mom had it. My sisters had it. My older sister had it. And my younger sister was in Texas. And COVID at the time, you're locked. And I was at the hospital thugging it out, right? No emotion. The doctor, how you doing? Asher, I'm great.
Yeah.
But inside, I'm dying, right? They're telling me she's getting better. And then all of a sudden, God has a plan. So I think death has a purpose. And I think the purpose is to remind you of what your foundation is. Right? To me, when that happened to me, it happens to everyone. But that's when you have to get raw and lose it. And then what do you have to hold you grounded? What do you have? Either people do drugs, they lose it completely, right? Get into violence, they get angry. Or you remember one thing that this world's temporary. I'm going to meet this person I love again. Mm-hmm. And what do I need to do? Follow a book, follow this. There's a path. I'm going to make sure I see this person. I'm going to do what I need to do.
For sure.
Whether pray, whether fast, I'm going to be straight because I know they're in heaven. I'm going to make sure this is going to lead me there. For sure. Your foundation. And my mom, before she passed, she told me something that I'd never told my sisters until my mom passed. So I think that's where I got the toughness, where I couldn't let go yet. She woke up from the respirator after being in an induced coma for a month, where her kidneys failed. She was on dialysis. I didn't even know what that was. And then her heart. What else? She didn't have brain issues because some people with COVID had brain issues. All her organs kind of failed or were failing, but they revived. And there was her path to get out, and she got out. They thought she was going to get out. They took the respirator out, and she spoke to me. I didn't FaceTime my sisters at the time because I knew they couldn't handle how she looked like. So I would give them a glimpse. Ma, you good? You good? And I would FaceTime, hang up, because I didn't want my sisters to go through as much as I went through. Because they're experimenting, They're just human, the doctors. They don't know what they're doing. They're going to do the best they can. And my mom woke up from the respirator, and she was on a lot of heavy stuff. induced coma. So the fentanyl, opiate. She's, knocked out. She woke up and she's like, Asha, grab my hand. Immediately, I started shaking. Your African moms are tough.
Yeah.
They're built like tough,
Steel.
They're built like Russians.
Yeah.
Tough,
Yeah.
No show emotion.
Yeah.
And she told me, Asha, grab my hand. I'll never forget it. And I grabbed her hand. I'm sitting down like, Ma, are you okay? I know you're on, the medication. Fentanyl knocks you out. You're not in your right mind. Like, you're fine. You're going to get out. So I'm still trying to be positive to her. Well, inside, I'm not going to show it. And she told me, Asha, I'm not going to come back from this. I'm not going to come back from this. I'm going to die. And make sure, like, Allah shadahiro means, a saying is like, tighten your stomach and hold your sisters together. Give me a good burial. I'm not going to come back. Make a good burial for me. Immediately, I ran out of the room to the doctors. My mama on drugs. What the heck y'all give her?
For sure.
Hallucination.
You got her saying crazy things.
I'm losing it
For
at this point,
Yeah.
I can't tell my sisters, but I'm losing it.
Yeah.
And then the doctors came and they did a check on her and said, what is your name? She named it. What hospital are you in? Abbott. How did you get here? She named it. And she's off the respirator. She's talking, breathing normal. And then after she answered, the doctors left. And it was a total of 3 hours of her hyperventilating. And she went back in. And the doctors told us, by Monday, it was a Friday, Monday she'll be out of it. And she's going to go back home to rehab, She's out. And then that night, I had a phone call from the doctors and the nurses, because I was, the Abbott doctors and nurses, every day I was there, I would give them gifts. Someone who has my mother, right? Sure. I will make sure that they are living the best life. I brought Balkan flowers. Girl, I spent $25,000, maybe plus, on gifts and whatever I can to the nurses and doctors in Abbott. Right. There's someone who has my mother. Right. I'm going to make sure I am very appreciative for whatever they're doing at that hard time during COVID. The nurse called me, Asha, your mom has a fever. And I think it's from the hospital. It wasn't even from COVID. It was just the nurse came from another place. I don't know. Something happened where some sort of virus happened to her, where it brought her to diminish. And during that time, I never told my sisters her last words until I knew she passed. And during that time, I chose not to be at the hospital because Abbott is a great hospital. During COVID, they don't allow anyone to be present next to their loved ones. The executive hospital lady told us that 2 people will be allowed to be in her bedside until she passed, as a favor to me. And I couldn't allow myself to be the last person, right? I'm a mama's favorite. I was my mama's favorite. And I couldn't allow and hog up the last moments that my sister didn't get to be around.
Because you knew it was already going to happen.
Because I already knew. So I told my sisters, and I appreciate the doctor, and I said, they'll go and I'll go home. And during my home, I watched on FaceTime until my mom's heart stopped. And I was praying, please, God, don't let my sisters watch this. So I made up an argument to my sisters and told them, maybe they need to check the wires, go argue with them. I started a little
You like,
fight
I'm going to distract you.
Distract them. And my sisters argued. One was arguing with the doctor, the other was arguing with the nurse. Yeah. And I can see on FaceTime that
it's going down.
Her heart stopped.
Yeah.
And during that moment, I'm watching. God, please, all I ask is for you to calm their soul. It's like a saying, to need the qaboji, to make their so calm so they don't lose it, you know? Please, all I pray for. My mom is in a better place, but I got to make sure that I follow what my mom told me by keeping my sisters together. So that's why I didn't want to cry in front of my sisters. I didn't want to cry in front of people because everyone knew. I don't know how Asha's going to act. I don't know how Asha will hold it together. And when I saw you, and you told me at that restaurant, I should let it go, I busted down.
Yeah.
And people that come in your life are for a purpose. People pass, but God will be the only thing that holds you grounded. And God will put people around you to make sure you're good. And if you don't have nobody, God is there.
For sure.
That's what I believe.
For sure.
And I hope anyone else that's listening, I've lost 2 people who's my foundation. My mom especially is my foundation. And I'm okay. You'll be okay. You'll be great. My mama used to say, I'm going to die. Everybody's going to die. But who you are is when that person, your mom tells you what to do when you're living, right? But when they pass, they don't tell you what to do. They never teach you that. So it's like, but you have to just put yourself together and make sure that you're a reflection of what they've taught you.
Right. Who would you say Asha is now?
I think I'm a strong Black woman.
Not you whispering that.
Hold on, let me say it in my chest. I think I'm a strong Black woman.
Yeah.
I think I am. I hope I make my mama proud.
Yeah.
I know I made her proud when I was...
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
No,
Think about it.
Yeah.
I know I made my mama proud when she was living, right? 'Cause she got to go to Dubai, pay for all that.
For sure.
But
for sure,
twice,
pay for all of that.
Twice bought a Rolex. I get a Rolex.
Okay.
But I think right now I can say that I'm a person who's happy.
Yeah.
Right. I think I would make my mama proud. I think she would be disappointed during my grief what I've done, but but I feel like she'd be proud of us. Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. What would you say is the thing that's gotten you to... So God for sure, right? That's first. And then what are the things that you told yourself during this process that you went through?
Another person, actually, I have to say, is the fellow in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Asha. Quick to exit on social media, as you already know, because I be exiting people. Just exit.
Go follow
exit
her.
left. You know? Follow my TikTok. But anywho, during that stage, I think you and family and him came out of random.
Yeah.
Random.
Yeah.
I met him 7 days after after my mom passed. I buried her. So I was just like, oh, he's just going to be here for the moment. He's going to make me feel better. And he's going to exit left. You know, that's what I thought. God puts people in your life for a reason. After 7 days, tell me why, 7 days I was talking to him. On the 4th day, it was Mother's Day. Look at that. Look how God works.
Right.
4th day is Mother's Day, and all of us sisters are working. As a chemist, I'm in the lab. I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to work, and I'm going to work through the day. The day's over, you know? And I didn't know this man. I didn't even know how to spell his last name at the time. And I was just like, because I'm not invested. I don't care about him. You know, in my head, I'm mentally not here.
You here for the moment.
I'm mentally checked. My mama dead.
For sure.
I'm out, you know?
For sure.
He comes out of nowhere in his Mother's Day, and he went to Macy's. And my mom was a little bougie, so he went and bought her Coco Chanel perfume because she's a Chanel lady. And he went, I had no idea. He's like, Asha, I'm in Macy's buying my mama a gift. I was like, I don't care. That's your business, you know? That's okay, you know, whatever. So he went to Macy's and bought his mama a gift and bought my mom perfume and then went to the grave. And my mom at the time didn't have the little plaque or whatever. So he went and got a plastic flower. And then he took the perfume and sprayed it and FaceTimed me.
Wow.
In the lab. So I'm in the lab. I'm like, nigga, why are you calling me?
Right.
I'm in the lab. And then he's FaceTiming me, and I'm like, oh yeah, where you at?
Yeah.
And then he's like, Asha, your mama will want you to talk to her. I know you guys can't do it. Talk to your mama. What? And I broke down. And I'm just like, this is 4 days was my mom. So I knew him a week. And I was like bawling. I was like, Mom, I met this crazy man. I'm not quite sure what he's going to be. And I'm just talking to my mom. And I was like, Mom, we miss you, but I can't see you right now. And I'm just like bawling. Yeah. And then he picks up the phone and he's bawling. And then in that moment, I was like, this is the man for me. Yeah. So he has seen me through my stages of grief, of bad grief, and brought me back, as well as God. And you, girl, and family, of course. But he's one foundation I can vent to 24/7.
Yeah, you can fall.
Who's been the greatest human being in my life. The greatest. My protector, advisor. I block him every day. Remember I told you, I was like, listen, I love my peace.
She said, I blocked him. I said, wait, hold on, wait a minute.
Blacklist, get comfortable. And then he'll show up at my door. He'll be like, I'm gonna knock on your door.
I don't care if you block me. I'm gonna come in real life.
Yeah.
For sure.
That don't mean nothing. Yeah. Yes. But that's why I said, God puts people in your life, and if there's that guy out there, girl, who you can't get rid of, like a booger, your finger kind of situation. Yeah. Nobody's not like that, but make sure that you acknowledge it. Yeah. If it wasn't for people in my life and God, I don't know where I'd be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm just so, like, I don't know what the word for it is, but I'm just so, I have so much joy knowing that you're, like, allowing yourself to feel.
Because you left me at a bad term. You remember? Oh, my God.
But I knew, what's crazy, though? When we had that conversation, because you allowed yourself to fall finally, I was like, she's going to be fine. Yeah. I would have been worried if you didn't allow yourself to.
I was fighting everybody. And I'm a very peaceful person. If you see, very positive. I was picking fights with blacklist you, blacklist my own sisters in the house. We live in the same house. I'm like, you're blocked from all my social medias, which means you can't talk to me in real life. Also. But I think it's just the anger. I'm angry. And even then, it's like, I'm going over there, you know? But
yeah. What? So that's, I think, a part of grief that people don't talk about.
Oh, that's the worst part.
So talk to me about that.
It's frustration, it's anger, to me, it's like, I don't know how to describe it, right? It's not even anger, it's just, when to me, I look back at myself and describe it to say, when like a child is just upset, but they don't know why they're upset. Like they might eat, they might sleep, they might this, they might get food, they got their toy, but they're still kind of upset. That's how I felt. Everything would trigger me. Anyone that brings up my mom, anyone that talks about anything related to my mom, me, if they ask me how you do it, I'm already upset. Right. Why are you involved in my life? Do I look angry to you? Sure. That's how I felt. And I never knew that was that because I'm a very positive, upbeat person. That I never knew I had that in me, where I would just pick fights with my sisters, pick fights with everything. We had arguments over even at the grave. I'm like, who you allowed to talk? Like, who's this person showing up at the house? You don't know my mama. I was literally fighting everyone. And I never knew I had that in me. Ever. Ever. And I only understood that was a part of it, right? Because they tell you in the little textbook things. When you go on Google, grief stages, anger, piss, sad, depression, don't eat. It's just little sad commercials, Sure. Didn't eat all day, rolled out of bed, those kind of situations. Yeah. But that's real. That's actually real. I was at the graveyard because that would bring me peace. That would take my anger away. I would want to go at 3 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'm dropping everything. I'm going. I'm talking to my mama like, Ma, you left me with such mean people. I was just because I'm mad. Yeah. And then at the graveyard, I would see other people who would be there as long as me. Like, as long as I'd be there for like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And my sisters would tell me, Asha, you're grieving wrong. And that would make me angrier. Who are you going to tell me that I'm grieving wrong? Because they didn't go through it. So then I would go to the graveyard, and then God comes and brings another person. And then my fellows here who's took me to the graveyard, because he's like, you're not going alone, right?
Right.
My little buddy here would be like, Asha, go talk to this person.
Yeah.
I think they're going through whatever you're going through, because he knew I needed to talk.
Yep.
So I would go see, and there was a guy who I seen at the graveyard who told me his mom died from cancer, and he was the oldest, and he was going through the anger stage where he would fight everyone, pick fights with people, you know, because he's the youth and, you know, just random. And I turned to him, and my fellow was like, "Go, Asha, what could you say to him?" He puts me on the spot.
Right.
That's how I think I got forced to talk, you know? Mm-hmm. Asha, what would you recommend to tell him? Your mama died, your daddy died too. You two people, and he was just like,
"That's what's what."
I'd be like, "You're so
like,
messed
calm
up.
down, yeah.
You're so messed up." But
like,
it helps me.
Yeah, for sure.
It helped me
because it's real
to say it's relatable.
Yeah,
you know, people tell you all the time to go to therapy. It's like, this person I'm talking to can't relate to me.
Yeah.
Why do I give a fuck?
Right.
But I feel like when someone who's been through it talks to you, you listen. Mm-hmm. You listen with a purpose. Mm-hmm. So this dude, I told him, was like, listen, bro, I don't know what to tell you, but I can only tell you what my mama told me, you know? And he was Somali, and I was like, Allah shahad hero. Like, you're the oldest, like, man up type situation. Like, grief, but end of the day, man up. But your mama wants you to be like this, you know? Coming in the graveyard this late, even though I'm doing it. And then he'd be like, no, you're the oldest. They look at you. So if you're angry, right? And you're discombobulated, you're fighting people, and you're doing all that, how are you a reflection of them? What are they learning from you? And then he broke down. And it's like you said, you need to break down to get better.
Yeah.
And for him, I think when I told him that, it helped him get away from that anger stage. I think you should get into the anger, but you should never prolong it. It should be the shortest stage, right, to get out. Because you don't even know who you're mad at. You can't get mad at God. This is, as a religious person, right? You can't be angry, because you have to know God will take people away. They're going back to their maker.
Yeah.
So they don't have that anger stage if you're a religious person. But you need to have a little bit of anger to release.
Yeah.
And then you get better.
I think that's like the same way that I was talking about earlier, giving permission to fall. Falling looks different for different people.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, I was never an angry person. I was never this type of person. And then boom. Probably, I don't know that person, but it's like, even with that person, it's like, I'm usually the person that's, you know, I think we have a version of ourselves that we live, you know, because that's who we believe we are.
Yeah.
And then when we're faced with adversity, you know, whether it's grief, whether it's, you know, trauma, whether it's whatever the case may be, like, it rips this version of ourselves that we think we are.
Yes.
And then what happens is you end up like falling and breaking in a way for you to actually be able to see
100%
who you really are.
It reminds me of adaptation, right? Not disaster happens. You either have to adapt and change your environment, get better, you know, or else you get extinct. Mm-hmm. So it's like, exactly reminds me of that theory of Darwin. It's a whole evolution. Yeah. You evolve in self. Even when I thought I was a very positive person, I never would have thought that. And then I evolved.
Yep.
Evolving. I feel like you should never get comfortable.
And I feel like what happens is when you do get comfortable, life will make you
slap
uncomfortable.
Silly.
It'll say, if you've been this version and this version you're comfortable with, I'm going to give you a taste of something that you don't like. So you have no option but to change.
Yeah.
And I think that when you start recognizing that as an opportunity for you to learn, an opportunity for you to grow, an opportunity for you to evolve, you give yourself permission.
Yeah.
You give yourself permission to fall. You give yourself permission to be angry. You give yourself permission to, you better than me. I've definitely told God before, I'm like, I am mad. Why are you putting me through this? I am exhausted. I am tired. I am depleted. I had to be honest with God about certain things. Why am I experiencing these things? Like, why is this happening to me? I trust you, but I think also like allowing myself to be honest about where I was at gave me the freedom to walk away from that space. There's a saying, I don't know where it's from, but what you resist persists. When we resist the very thing that makes us human, which is the fact that we love, that's why you're angry, but you don't know. The same way that when a baby is looking for their food, they don't know why they're angry. It's the same, because we're human. We have a human experience. And like, I think that's why I wanted to do this series, because I wanted people to understand that the adversity, the trials, the tribulations, the things that they're going through, one, are things that humans experience. 2, are things that they're going to come to the other side. And 3, are things that if you allow yourself to go through the process, you'll come on the other side and say, wow, look at where I came from.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a blessing. I feel like all this changed me, right? Whatever I've been through changed me, but I feel like it's for the good. Like, I can honestly say, my mom passed and swore, but I wanted my life always, but it made me a better person.
How did it make you a better person?
It taught me that I am strong and I can go through it, and everything has a purpose. And it gave me humility, right? Once I got into this big age, I got a little bit cocky. I was like, I'm going back. I'm going to do this. I'm bougie. I'm out here, you know? But then life happens. It puts you in a reality check and reminds you that 9 to 5 you're stressing about that coworker that you hate, that talks about nonsense. Doesn't matter. That fight that you got with your husband, doesn't matter. You have to live in the moment. You have to be happy. And whatever your happiness looks like, you have to make it yourself happy. And simple things. Just live a simple life. Like, think materialistic, all that stuff doesn't matter. It's all about God. It's all about people. That's what I believe in. When you told me about this, I was like, girl, I'm coming.
Yeah, I know. You said, I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you. Because with social media, people forget that people are people.
For sure.
And you need to have people interactions. You need to talk to people. You need to talk to random people sometimes. Because you're just a person. You're just a human living in the world with other humans.
For sure.
And you need to have conversations. You need to have interactions. You need to talk about your feelings, because someone else can relate to you.
For sure. I think a key ingredient in resilience is humility, like you said. When you are going through any process, humbling yourself to experience the process and knowing and reminding yourself, I too am a human. No matter how strong you've been or how, successful you are, definitely, sees you through. So I'm proud of you. I'm glad. And this is just the beginning for you. I know that you have so many levels that you haven't even experienced that you're going to experience that are just going to be freeing and powerful. And, you're such a joyful person. And I'm just, there's just gonna be like a whole nother level that I know is coming, and so I'm just so excited for you as well.
I'm just excited for whatever comes my way.
For sure. For sure. Well, we end every episode with having our guests say to the audience, be encouraged, and whatever they say. So that's your camera right there. If you were to tell anything to the audience, what would you say?
Let me get close. Y'all can see me? Pay attention very clearly. You know, you got to listen to your elders and stuff like that. So anywho, this is what I got to say. Just be yourself. Right? Only thing I would advise anyone is to just, whatever you're going through, go in the mirror and look at yourself and smile. You're going to get out of this. And just be proud of yourself. Whatever stage you're at, I've been through grief and I've been to many levels of grief. And just be proud of yourself. Your happiness matters more than anything. And God, don't forget God. God will put you in good places. Be closer to God if you're not, whatever God looks like to you. And just be happy. That's what I gotta say.
That's